done this, don't you? I know what you did!
I didn't do anything!
Why are you doing this?
Pay attention to this security camera footage. March 15th, 2023. A quiet residential street in Durham, North Carolina. Late afternoon light, a woman and a man stand in the driveway outside a modest single-story home. Their voices are raised, gestures sharp. She points at him, emphatic, hurt. He steps forward, hands up, defensive. The argument builds, then gets into his car and drives off. That 10-second clip captures the last time Ketta Washington ever confronted the man she had loved, trusted, and built a family with for 10 years. 2 weeks later, she would be dead. And that same footage would become the emotional cornerstone of a murder trial that laid bare one of the most calculated double lives in recent memory. A conspiracy born not from passion, but from panic, selfishness, and the desperate need to keep two separate worlds from colliding. April 12, 2023, 8:34 a.m. Durham police respond to a welfare check at 1427 East Umstead Street. A neighbor hadn't seen Ketta Washington or her 8-year-old daughter Amara in 3 days. Ketta's car sat in the driveway. Lights off. No answer at the front door. Officers circle to the back, unlocked. They enter. They find Ketta in the master bedroom, on the floor beside the bed. No blood, no obvious wounds, but the room feels wrong. The medical examiner arrives. Cause of death: asphyxiation due to smothering. Manual: sustained pressure. Time of death estimated between late evening April 9th and early morning April 10th, roughly 72 hours before discovery. This was not natural. This was not suicide. This was deliberate homicide. The investigation begins with the most basic question: who had reason to want Ketta Washington silenced forever? Ketta Washington was 35. Born and raised in Charlotte, she moved to Durham in her early 20s for better opportunities. She became a dental hygienist at a small family practice downtown, known for her gentle hands, her easy laugh, the way she could calm even the most nervous patients. Colleagues described her as steady, kind, the person everyone turned to when things got stressful. In 2013, she met Elias Vane during a routine cleaning. He was charming, well-dressed, easy to talk to. He asked her out after the appointment. She said yes. 6 months later, they were living together in Durham. It felt like the beginning of something solid. In 2015, Ketta became pregnant. Their daughter, Amara, arrived in early 2016. Elias was there for the birth, stayed through the sleepless months, helped with bottles and diapers. He never proposed, never spoke of marriage, but Ketta didn't press. They were a family. That was enough. Elias worked as a regional business manager for a logistics firm. Good salary, frequent travel, 3 or 4 days a week on the road, sometimes more. Client meetings in Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro. Ketta accepted it. She focused on Amara, on her career, on keeping their home warm and stable. By early 2023, after 10 years together, small cracks had started to show. Elias was more distant. His phone stayed face down. Calls taken in the garage or the car. Ketta felt the shift but told herself she was being paranoid. She loved him. She trusted him. She shouldn't have. Elias Vane was 38. Raised in Greensboro in a stable middle-class home, he had always been ambitious. Good grades, business degree, steady climb at the logistics company. Organized, strategic, and exceptionally good at compartmentalization. When he met Ketta in 2013, he was sincere. He cared for her. But as the years passed, domestic life began to feel like a weight. The same routines, the same responsibilities. He loved Amara deeply, but he wasn't ready to be fully tethered. In the fall of 2018, on a week-long assignment in Raleigh, Elias met Sloane McIntyre at a hotel bar. She was 32, a pharmaceutical sales rep, confident, sharp, successful in her own right. They talked late, drank, ended up in her room. Elias told himself it was a one-night thing. It wasn't. Within weeks, they were texting constantly. Within a month, he was driving to Raleigh regularly, telling Ketta it was extended client visits. To Sloane, he presented himself as single, working out of Durham midweek, but unattached. The lie came easily, effortlessly. By December 2018, they were serious. Sloane wanted commitment. In a moment of reckless momentum, Elias proposed. They married quietly in a Raleigh courthouse on January 12, 2019. Marriage certificate filed. Legal. Binding. Sloane had no idea Ketta existed. No idea Amara existed. Elias told her his job required him to spend half the week in Durham handling regional accounts. She accepted it. Her own job involved travel. It fit. For the next 5 years, Elias lived 2 complete, parallel lives. 3 or 4 days a week in Durham with Ketta and Amara. Dinners, bedtime stories, school drop-offs. The remaining days, and most weekends, in Raleigh with Sloane. Date nights, apartment shopping, conversations about starting a family of their own. 2 homes, 2 women, 2 versions of himself. He never slipped, not once, until late 2022. Sloane began noticing inconsistencies, stories that didn't line up, small contradictions. In January 2023, she did something she had never done before. She checked Elias's phone while he showered. She found a long text thread with Ketta, recent photos, affectionate messages. A child called Amara, referred to as our girl. Sloane confronted him that night. Elias denied romance, said Ketta Ketta was an old friend, that Amara was a goddaughter. Sloan wanted to believe him. She almost did. Across town in Durham, Ketta's own suspicions had reached a breaking point. Elias's distance had become impossible to ignore. One night in early March while he slept, she picked up his phone. She found Sloan. Photos of a wedding. Messages calling Sloan wife. Ketta felt the floor drop away. She woke Elias, showed him the evidence, demanded the truth. He tried to lie. She pressed harder. Finally, he admitted everything. The marriage to Sloan in 2019, the 5 years of living split between two cities, two women. Ketta was shattered. 10 years, a daughter, and he had been legally married to someone else the entire time. Oh, she told him to leave. He packed a bag and drove away. The next day, Ketta called him. They needed to discuss Amara, custody, child support, the future. They agreed to meet at the house on March 15th to talk. The conversation was anything but calm. The security camera captured it all. Ketta's anger, her hurt, her refusal to be dismissed. She told Elias she would be filing for child support. She would seek full custody unless he stepped up legally. And if he fought her, she would make sure Sloan knew every detail. The 10 years, the daughter, the lies. Elias panicked. If Sloan learned the full truth, his marriage would end. If Ketta pursued formal child support, his finances, already stretched thin maintaining two households, would collapse. Court-ordered payments would ruin him. He tried to calm her. They promised they could handle it privately. Ketta refused. She wanted it documented. Legal, done. The argument turned physical. Pushes, raised voices. Ketta walked away. Elias followed, grabbed her arm. She pulled free, told him to get out. He left, but the threat remained. That night, Elias drove to Raleigh and told Sloan the truth. Everything. Ketta, Amara, the 10 years. The double life. Sloan's reaction was fury, betrayal, humiliation. She asked why. Elias said he had made mistakes, but he loved her, wanted to save their marriage. Then he told her about the confrontation, about Ketta's threats to expose him, to take him to court, to drag both their names through public filings. Sloan listened. Her mind turned practical. If this became public, court documents, news coverage, her career in pharmaceutical sales would suffer. Reputation, professional relationships, everything she had built. The problem was Ketta. If Ketta were gone, the problem disappeared. Neither of them said the word kill at first, but the thought settled between them. By the end of the conversation, Sloan said it plainly. If she wasn't here, this would all go away. Elias didn't disagree. They began to plan. The plan was brutally simple. Elias would return to Durham, apologize, try to convince Ketta to handle everything privately. No courts, no exposure. If she refused, he would wait until she was asleep, smother her with a pillow, stage the scene as a home invasion, overturn furniture, take her purse, leave the back door ajar. Sloan would provide the alibi. Elias had been with her in Raleigh the entire night. They chose April 9th. Elias texted Ketta. He wanted to apologize, talk about Amara calmly, maybe spend the morning with her. Ketta, hoping for some kind of closure, agreed. He arrived around 8 p.m. They talked in the living room. Tense but civil. Ketta put Amara to bed upstairs, came back down, told Elias he could sleep on the couch if he wanted to see Amara in the morning. He accepted. Ketta went to bed around 11. Elias waited in the dark. Around 2 a.m. he climbed the stairs. Ketta was asleep on her side. He picked up a pillow from the floor, pressed it over her face. She woke, struggled, clawed at his arms. He used his full weight, held firm. Minutes passed. She stopped moving. He checked her pulse. Nothing. He staged the room, tipped the lamp, pulled bedding, moved a chair, took her purse, left through the back door, drove straight to Raleigh, arrived at Sloan's apartment around 4 a.m. While she was waiting lights on, he told her it was done. They rehearsed the story. He had never left Raleigh. 3 days later, April 12th, Ketta's body was found. Detectives moved quickly. They interviewed neighbors, co-workers, friends. No enemies, no drama. Ketta was quiet, devoted to her daughter. Her phone showed frequent contact with Elias Vane in the weeks before her death. Neighbors recognized him from years of visits. Detectives located Elias, brought him in. He played the grieving partner beautifully. 10 years together, loved her, couldn't believe she was gone. They asked where he was April 9th to 10th. Raleigh, he said, with his girlfriend Sloan McIntyre. Girlfriend. Detectives asked him to repeat that. He stumbled. A quick records check revealed the 2019 marriage certificate. Elias Vane and Sloan McIntyre. He admitted the marriage, admitted the double life, insisted he was in Raleigh all night. Sloan confirmed it when they called her. But detectives weren't buying the synchronized stories. They pulled traffic camera footage from I-40 and local Durham roads. One frame showed Elias's black SUV leaving Durham at 3:47 a.m. on April 10th, headed east toward Raleigh. If he had been in Raleigh all night, why was his car departing Durham 4 hours after estimated time of death? They showed him the footage. His story crumbled. He claimed he had left Ketta's house around midnight, lied earlier out of fear. Cell tower pings told a different story. His phone stayed in Durham until 3:30 a.m., then moved along the highway to Raleigh. He lawyered up. Detectives turned to Sloan. At first, she held firm. Elias never left her apartment. Then they showed her the traffic camera told her Elias had placed himself at the murder scene during the window of death. Sloane's composure cracked. She asked for a lawyer, but before one arrived, she started talking. She admitted Elias had told her he was going to Durham to handle Ketta. When he returned at 4 a.m., he said Ketta wouldn't be a problem anymore. She understood what that meant. She didn't call police. She didn't report it. She lied to protect their life together. Text messages recovered from both phones in the days after the murder sealed it. Elias, it's better this way. We can finally breathe. Sloane, I know. She would have ruined everything. Elias and Sloane were arrested that week. Elias charged with first-degree murder. Sloane with conspiracy to commit murder and accessory after the fact. The trial began October 2023 in Durham County Superior Court. The prosecution's case was tight. Motive, exposure, and crippling child support obligations. Opportunity, Elias's unrestricted access to the home, premeditation, the planning conversation with Sloane, execution, forensic confirmation of smothering, cover-up, false alibi, stage scene. The March 15th security footage played a central role, shown multiple times. It proved Ketta's anger was fresh and justified. It proved Elias left under threat. It proved desperation. Traffic cameras and cell data placed him at the scene during the murder window. The medical examiner testified, sustained pressure for 4 to 6 minutes. Not accidental, not a struggle gone wrong. Deliberate. The defense claimed Elias acted alone in a moment of panic. Sloane only lied out of fear after the fact. Also, the post-murder texts contradicted that. The jury deliberated 2 days. Guilty verdicts on all counts. Sentencing. Elias, life without parole. Sloane, 25 years. There was one final twist. Elias carried a $2.8 million life insurance policy through his employer. Beneficiary, Sloane McIntyre. North Carolina's Slayer statute voided any benefit to someone who conspires to kill the insured, or in this case, the policyholder's partner whose death triggered related financial motives. The policy was invalidated. Proceeds reverted to Elias's estate. Elias and Ketta were never married, so she had no direct claim. The money Elias killed to avoid paying in child support now belongs entirely to the daughter he tried to sideline. Ketta Washington was 35. She spent 10 years loving a man who lived 2 lives. When she discovered the truth, she didn't seek vengeance. She sought fairness for herself, for her daughter, for that she was smothered in her own bed.